I keep getting a lot of questions. People ask me, what would I choose to start my own authority or be a fleet owner operator with a major carrier, major company? It really depends. It really depends on your trucks. It really depends on what type of tolerance you could take. It really depends on how much money you got for business. But if you got 5 trucks or less, I would tell you to be a fleet owner for a major carrier. I wouldn't tell you to go out on your own, especially starting off with 1 or 2 trucks. You know, some people gonna have better, some people gonna have good stories, but I've heard a lot of horror stories. So if you don't know what you're doing, the steps with trucking, you drive for somebody, you go from driving for somebody, then you become owner operator. Then you might get 2, 3 trucks, and you become a fleet owner with the carrier that you became an owner operator with. Then after 4 or 5 trucks, and you've been in the game for years, then you start your own authority. You'll have your own authority. You by yourself, you're on an island on your own. That is not something that I recommend nobody that don't have years of trucking to do. If you got under 1 million miles of trucking, I wouldn't tell you to do it on your own. That's just my reference. That's just my preference. So you can listen or don't listen, but as an owner operator, you still get 75, 80% from the major carrier that you assign with, that you in business with. You got access to all they loads, they loading boards. You got access to all they dispatchers. You got access to all they trailers. Major carriers got a lot of trailers. They got unlimited freight. You got access to all they freight brokers. You got access to all they insurance. You got access to all they discounts for tires, maintenance. You got this. So that's why I tell a lot of guys that starting off as owner operators, start off as owner operators. Don't be rushing just to go get your own authority. Yes, your authority is going to give you more money, but you're going to have to buy your trucks. You're going to have to buy your trailers. You're going to be responsible for all your trailers' insurance. You're going to be responsible for all your drivers' insurance. You're going to be responsible for everything. You're going to be responsible for getting brokers. You're going to be responsible for getting dispatchers. Dispatchers charge anywhere from 6 to 10% a load. So that's not no little thing. Then you're going to have to call a factoring company like a RTM, RTF, a factoring company, because a lot of times as an owner, they don't want to pay you for 30 days. So the only way you can get your money within 24 to 48 hours is with a factoring company. Another disadvantage too, is when you're on your own, is when fuel discounts. When you with a major carrier, they might give you 55, 60 cents off of each gallon of gas as a fuel discount. When you're on your own and got 2, 3 trucks, you might get 8 cents. You might get 12 cents. They don't give you that much discount with fuel because you ain't got a lot of carriers. As well as with insurance. Insurance companies, they're going to bleed you dry when you got 5 or less trucks. They're going to be trying to charge you $1,500 to $2,000 a month per truck, especially when you got drivers with 2 years or under experience. They're going to kill you. You could die. You could be on the side of the road just off insurance payments alone. So 5 or less trucks, I will tell everybody to become owner operators, fleet owners under a major carrier. 5 or more trucks, 1 million or more miles under your belt, and you know what you're doing, you seasoned, I will tell you, now it's time to get on the road. Now it's time to get your own authority. Now it's time to really try to get them $4 or $5 a mile each mile. You got trusted dispatchers, you got trusted freight, you got enough money to have 4 or 5 trailers, you got trailer insurance, you got good trucks, you want to have nice, decent trucks, 24, 25 or newer, under 300,000 miles. Don't go out of here on your own with these 500,000, 600,000 mile trucks and start your own trucking company. You're setting yourself up for failure. You want to start off small and short. You want trusted drivers. You want people that want to make money and that's loyal to you and that's not trying to use you as a stepping stone to get their own shit up and their own business up and running. You got to have loyal drivers that'll stay with you, that's going to see your vision and pay them well. You want to pay your drivers well. You want to pay your dispatchers well. You want to make sure that you're taking freight that's under 30,000, under 35,000 pounds. Don't take all that heavy shit that kill your engine. You want to take stuff that ain't going through the mountains, especially in the wintertime. You want to know your demographic. You want to know what you're doing. So just anybody starting in the trucking world, you crawl, that's starting driving for somebody. You walk, that's you get your first truck. You're an owner operator, you get 70-75% with a major carrier. You start jogging a little bit, that's getting 3-4 trucks. You still a lease owner. You still under a major company, but you got a fleet. You're a fleet owner, and then you run. That's when you that's when you got your big boy draws on. That's when you got your own trucking company. That's when you really out here giving it full throttle, and you got over 1 million miles under your belt. You know what you're doing. You're comfortable. You got the brokers. You got the freight. You got the team. You got the loyal drivers. You got the trucks. You know the fuel. You know the states that got the best fuel discounts. You know if Flying J or Pilot is the best. You know if TA or Loves is the best. You got your sweet spots. And you know, you got, like I said, you got the freight. You got the relationships with the dispatchers. You got the relationships with everybody. Now it's time to put your big boy draws on and give it all you got.